I think that the EU Eastern Enlargement was one of the biggest achievements of the EU during its all existence. Why I think so? Because the countries that joined the EU in 2004 and 2007, and then also Croatia that joined recently, they are now stable, relatively prosperous countries which has become better off than they were before joining the EU. And they are also a great example for the other countries of the Eastern Europe, not only Eastern Europe but also for some Caucasus countries as Georgia. And for example, in Ukraine, why people were looking with so much anticipation towards the association agreement, and why then they took to the streets and started the protest against the decision of the government not to sign the association agreement, because they saw this probability and the promise of the closer ties with the EU as a possibility to reform their country and to modernize their country, as it has already happened in Poland, in the Baltic states, and in other countries that are Ukraine's neighbors. Also, I think that the EU conditionality, which functioned perfectly in the case of Poland and in the case of other Eastern European countries, could have functioned perfectly also with Ukraine if Ukraine was offered a membership perspective. And I think this is a target for the EU to achieve in the next years. Ukraine needs the membership perspective in order to implement the reforms effectively, and in order to have, let's say, some carrot in the end of its way. Of course, the road to the EU membership cannot be easy, and it wasn't for other Eastern European countries. But when there is a light in the end of the tunnel, I think that the reforms are going much more smoothly, and the society is also ready to accept more sacrifice. In the current situation, when Ukraine doesn't have this perspective, many people are asking themselves, okay, we will undertake the reforms, our country needs them, but we will also suffer heavy losses, and what will we have in the end? They are not sure of the outcome of all this long road and the bumpy road. And we also have this strong opposition from the powerful neighbor, from Russia, which can only be countered with more EU presence in Ukraine. I think that these fears that persist in some European Union countries about the further EU enlargement are in many aspects not justified, because the previous EU enlargements had many upsides, and had many more upsides than downsides. All the Eastern European countries that joined the EU are now stable countries. They do not have any internal armed conflicts, as, for example, Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova has. So definitely these countries and the whole EU benefited a lot from them joining the European Union. And I also would like to use this opportunity that we are here, the journalists from Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova, to encourage the EU to look at these countries in let's say, and to see what happens in those countries as part of the same pattern, because all our three countries unfortunately now have frozen conflicts, and these frozen conflicts are very similar, and their reasons are very similar. And I feel that in the EU there is no realization that these frozen conflicts were caused by the same, largely by the same foreign power that was meddling in the internal affairs of these countries. So I believe the EU should develop a stronger common approach to the countries such as Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova in order to benefit both sides.